Welcome back. Now, not a lot of people know this, but in an average year, there are around 300 UFO sightings investigated by the British UFO Research Association. But this year, that figure has leapt up to 800 sightings. Is there something going on out there that we ought to start taking a little more seriously? Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome a Frenchman who's come over here tonight in the latest stage of a 15-year campaign. He wants us to take men from outer space very seriously indeed. Will you welcome Rael? A few oohs and ahs from our audience here tonight, Rael. I don't know if it's because of what you're dressed in, is it? Is this your normal?
Yes.
Do you like to wear a white coat and things? Your proposition is that you have seen aliens. You have been with aliens.
Extraterrestrials.
What was this experience like? How did it happen, first of all, and why you?
In 1973, December the 13th, in Clermont-Ferrand, a city in the center of France, I was journalist and I was going to my office like every morning, and suddenly, instead to turn right with my car, I turned left. And I drove 10 kilometers right to a volcano, name is Puy de la Sola, 10 kilometers from the city. And I did not know why I was there. By foot, I went to the center of the volcano, and then I was wondering, why am I there? I have a lot of work in my office. I have nothing to do here. And suddenly I saw a very strong white flashing light in the sky, and something like a flattened bell made of a very shining silver metal, maybe 7 meters of diameter, appears, and it was slowly coming down, very slowly. And at the beginning, I was very happy to see that.
What did you think it was when you saw it?
Oh, I was sure it was not human, because it looked very heavy, but it was in the sky without any noise, nothing. So can you imagine something like a 747 without any noise?
It's very difficult
possible.
To imagine.
It's not possible. So I was sure it was not human. And then this strange thing stopped about 30 meters from me, and something like a stair was slowly opened. And I stopped to be happy, because I start to be a little bit afraid.
Now, the things or whatever came out of there were aliens, were they? What did they look like?
Exactly like us. And you will understand why after when I will
exactly the
explain.
same as you and I?
Exactly the same, a little bit smaller.
What were they dressed
very
in?
large almond-shaped eyes, and dressed with a one-piece green suit, but the skin is not green. Like in the cartoons sometimes.
Actually, you said, because you've written a book about all of this,
yes.
You said in the book that they had a sort of greenish tinge, like a liver complaint.
One-piece suit. And no, a little bit, like some people who have a liver problem, but no green like a leaf. Green, yellow, white, mixed. Not different of us when we have a disease with a liver.
Now, you met them, and I know we're going to shorten the story because you met them again.
Yes.
And they eventually took you to
yes,
someplace. Where did you go to? We can talk about what they said to you, but where did you go to, do you think?
Oh, the most important is the message, and I want to start with the message.
Yeah, well, I'm anxious to know where you think you were taken to.
The planet where they live.
And what was the planet like?
To understand that, it's necessary to understand the message first. These people came. These people came on the planet, on the Earth, a very long time ago.
Your followers are saying that we should hear the message first, so I'll let you give us the message.
Yes, I can't resume in 1 minute, of course, I will not explain all the book. But these people came on this planet a very long time ago. There was no life, nothing. And they built big laboratories, and in these laboratories, thanks to DNA and genetic combination, they created all life on Earth.
So these people are our creators, and
exactly.
You have met them.
And they made men in their image, on their image. I don't know,
in their image.
In their
image.
I'm sorry for my bad English.
No, it's good.
So they created us, and the Bible explained what they did, because the Bible described what they did, but described by primitive people.
So, who is Jesus then?
So these people, in the Bible, the name is Elohim. Elohim was wrongly translated by God. And Elohim, you know, the first day Elohim did that, the second day, but it's not God. It's Elohim. In Hebrew, it means those...
Is Jesus one of these people?
It means those who came from the sky. And Jesus is the son of one of them and a girl from the earth. And his mission was to spread the Old Testament, the Bible, everywhere in the world, in order to make people able to understand now.
Right. One question I have to ask you. Why suddenly have you decided that they need an embassy? Why now?
They ask an embassy because they want to come, not like a strange thing, not with a mystery. They want to come in a safe place, and they want to meet the world press, the world government, the world television.
I wonder what would happen if they were to walk in here now, as far as our audience is concerned, because there's been one or two titters as we've been talking about.
If you saw the movie E.T., maybe you understand what's happened to somebody who come from the space. So they want a safe place where they will be welcome with a respectful.
I wonder if we would welcome them here. Yes. Mr. Donnelly, where's Mr. Donnelly at? He's there. Now, you are... The lights have now come up so we can see things slightly clearer. Mr. Donnelly, you are from the Skeptics Association, which is the Manchester branch for some reason. I don't know what's so special about the Manchester branch. Now, what do you feel about what you've heard from Rael here tonight?
Well,
this man has spent 15 years, don't forget.
I had a chance also to look through the book a bit earlier. I mean, I'm not sure whether I'm allowed to say crap on live television.
Well, you've said it now.
So I'll use the word garbage. I mean, I'm a fan of science fiction, and I've read a lot of bad science fiction. But this particular book really takes the biscuit. But I think before we get into the levity of it and the amusement of it, I'd like to inject a serious note and a bit of a note of caution. What we're talking about here is a religious cult. I don't know how many followers they now have. I heard a number that was something like 20,000. I don't know whether that's true or not. In the mid-1970s, some people in the audience may remember a cult that was called the People's Temple sect, that had a base in Jonestown, near Georgetown in Guyana. It was led by a very charismatic gentleman, probably no more charismatic than Mr. Vorilhon here. And the consequences, the end result of that, were that 914 people committed mass suicide.
Wait a minute,
so
you're suggesting that the likes of Rael here is capable of persuading people to do that kind of thing?
I'm not saying that is in any sense in his motives, but let us not lose sight of the fact.
Well, what do you think his motives are?
Well,
I mean, this man has come here tonight.
If you want to have a look at the book, on page 218 of the book, I mean, this gentleman was a professional journalist for many years. He knows the value of publicity and the ability that has to make money. Look at page 218, where we have the commandments of the Raelian movement.
Yeah,
Commandment number 4 is that members must every year give 1% of their gross income to the movement.
Is that right?
With 20,000 members, if that number's right, that makes a cool £2 million.
Yes.
Can I suggest?
Hang on, Rael seems to have an explanation for this, yeah?
Can I suggest that's one motivation for putting together such a movement? Before reading the book, I felt that the guy might simply have a problem with hallucinations or delusions. On reading the book is much more calculatedly put together than that. And my suspicion is it's a nice vehicle for fame and ultimately money.
I mean, you were a racing driver at one stage, weren't you?
I want to answer to these things because it's so stupid what I just hear now. Because we are fighting against religions. We are fighting against cult. We are atheists, 100% atheists. And this message explains why there is no God. So it's very different of the man of Guyana. And you have members of my movement in the room.
What's it to do with all the money that he made from the book?
I first answer about the sect and the cult.
In a moment,
I will answer to you, don't worry. So the number one question is the cult. I am fighting against the cult. And why people have so many problems with the cult, with the young generation? Because they have nothing to believe. They don't believe in,
all right,
in a God.
Before we come to some of the people that
so we don't believe in God.
Raelians.
This is very important.
Right. Why do you think the aliens chose you? Now, one of the things about when we ever hear about aliens, they never go to see the presidents of the United States or the Soviet Union. They always sort of go to farms in the backwoods of Nebraska and things. Now, why have they chosen you specifically to tell us about what to expect in the future?
I want to answer to the number 2 question about money.
Can you just answer that question first?
Yes, but number 2, because after we will forget it. And for people who are looking at us...
I won't forget it. I was just interested why they chose you.
So it's your speaking. I believe you.
Can you tell me why they chose you?
They need a safe place, not to meet me, but to meet the world government, the world press. And they will come in this safe place. It needs to be an embassy without military power, with extraterritoriality, exactly like an embassy, with a free airspace, and they will arrive, and we will welcome them respectfully.
How long do you think it will be before they come?
Between now and 2025. Maybe next year, maybe sooner. I hope as soon as possible.
Are we ready for them?
We are ready, yes, but we need to spread the message everywhere in the world, and we need to have...
Right, before I come to you, the lady at the back there wanted to know what you're going to do with the money, basically. What are you going to do with this?
Of course, the money is first to build the embassy. And it sounds to the second question.
Do they need a big... I mean, couldn't they just come to somebody's, terraced house or something?
No, they need a safe place. They need an embassy. You know, when people come from another planet, you saw what's happened to them in the movie E.T.s. If they arrive in America, they believe it's from Russia. First, they fight. First, they send a missile, and after...
Have you only seen them this once?
And after, only after, they try to understand. First, they kill, number two, they speak.
There's a lady shouting, have you only seen them once?
Sorry?
There's a lady
have you
shouting.
only seen them once, and you're building an embassy on things you've only seen once?
She says, have you only seen them once, and are you going to build an embassy on the...
Sorry, I don't understand. Marcus? In 1973, in 1975.
What did they actually say to you?
They said, it's important to explain the message. They explain, they create life in laboratory on the Earth, and they want us to welcome them if we want, because now we can understand, not everybody, of course, because...
Wait a minute. We've been standing here. We're putting you on the spot. I mean, you actually are sitting out front anyway. Let me, before we come to yourself, let me have a word with a couple of your people, your followers, the Raelians, as described. Dr. Wenner.
Dr. Wenner, yes.
Wenner, Dr. Wenner. You are a doctor. You're involved with neurobiology.
Yes.
You're a well-educated man. What has convinced you that what Rael is saying is fact, and that he's not just a nutcase?
The message which he brings. If you read the book, if you take time, and if you're an open-minded person, then you're going to actually read the book and see that what he says actually makes absolute sense. It fits exactly with what's happening with science at the moment. It fits exactly with what's happened in the past, with the record of all religions in the past. If you look at all the old religions, you find that it was always gods in the plural who made human beings in their image, who educated mankind, and who said, we'll be back one day. And that's exactly what he says. And if you look at the way science is going today, you can see that we're on the verge of making living things. We've already got machines which can program and make a chromosome, synthesize a chromosome. So soon, and it's happening, it just takes takes about 5 years for this information to dissipate.
All of this before. The reaction from our audience here tonight, I'm sure, is a reaction from millions of people.
It's a reaction of fright, because these messages are they undermine what we take for granted, and people react aggressively because they're frightened, because it challenges what they believe. We're saying...
The Reverend David Carr. Now, just one little point, because we're coming up to Christmas time. Yeah. If Jesus was an alien, then it rather knocks the whole Christmas story on the head, does it not?
No. If he was an alien... we've got to define what an alien is. I mean, where the problem is, and this is very sad, I believe these people are pretty genuine in what they believe, but they're deceived, and we've had them throughout generations. We've had a dear man here trying to talk about the interpretation of the Bible, and by what he said already, he's shown to people like myself who studied the Bible for 25 years pure ignorance of the Bible. He doesn't even know what he's talking about. That's fact. This dear person here says all religions say this, they don't. And where the problem is, when you invent a new religion, and this man says he's against religions and he wears 2 religious symbols around his neck, which is a contradiction as well. What can you quote?
What is this symbol?
Well, the symbol is not religious.
The
symbol is a symbol of
infinity. It's an old ancient religious
in time
symbol.
and space. Yeah. And it only means infinitely small is atoms and infinitely large.
It just so happens
galaxy.
other religions have copied them before he had them.
Where did you get this?
It doesn't belong to nobody. A symbol is a symbol.
It's very
you cannot
sad.
give honor to a symbol.
I mean, Mr. Hitler copied one of those from an ancient
me
Egyptian religion, actually.
For me, it's an atheist
He called it a
symbol.
swastika. And you've amalgamated it with the Jews, which is a very good combination, isn't it?
If you believe it's religious, it's your choice.
Is Angela Henderson here? Angela, you have chosen to follow the Raelian movement.
Yes.
What has it done to your life, and why did you suddenly get involved with it?
I'd say it's completely transformed my life. I mean, I find this gentleman, he is obviously a professional skeptic, but he doesn't look particularly happy to me. He's talking about he's talking about people worrying about us about to commit mass suicide, but I have been to the camps, the meditation courses of awakening, which Rael runs all over the world. I have seen the effect that this man has on people's lives. If people were suicidal before, they're certainly not after.
So did
the
Jim Jones
money
in
that
Guyana.
the money that people pay goes only for publicity purposes and saving to build the embassy. No one is forced to build the money. money. It's completely voluntary.
It's going to be a
to
pretty
give the
special
money.
embassy at the end of the day, by the sound of things.
Not any more costly
But
than this
Jesus
place.
Christ could do that for you, and you wouldn't have to look to a man.
But
you
Jesus
could look
Christ
to God.
isn't alive today.
Who he is? Who
Rael
said he's not?
Right.
Who said he's
He's
not?
not physically alive on
says
this
he's not?
planet. Rael is.
Who says Jesus is
Wait a
alive?
minute. There are a lot of interested parties. Harry Harrison, you
Harris.
are a celebrated ufologist.
Yes.
You're also
yes.
a solicitor.
That's right. That's right.
Now,
Tell me, can you identify? And I actually believe, I'll put my colours on the mast, I do believe in aliens, quite frankly, but can you identify for me, because you know a lot more than I know, I assure you, can you identify for me, for us, the planet from which these people come?
They come from a planet which is in our galaxy, but not in our solar system.
Well, the name of the planet.
I have no information, and as you know, if you are a scientist, a human being don't know planet from outside the solar system.
Well, can you tell us a little about the customs of these people, their legends, their traditions?
The tradition, their religion is an atheist religion, and it's this symbol. They believe in infinity, in universe.
What sort of economic system do they have?
Why? Can I just meet Dr. Elliot here, who's an astronomer on the front row? Now, you've been looking up into the heavens for years and years. You lecture in the subject.
I do, yes.
Have people been trying to get messages from other planets, either electrical ones or optical ones, for years?
Indeed, they have. The astronomers have been looking at the skies for hundreds of years, and more recently, radio astronomers have been looking...
If this was in our galaxy, would you know?
If they were transmitting to us, we would know, yes, sure. We've looked at lots of the local stars, and for the last 20 years, there have been about 20 programs going, and no one has actually heard anything at all yet. So
Why
do you think the scientists haven't been able to decipher where these people
because
are coming
our
in? Because
science is too much primitive. We are like a pygmy. Science is only 100 years old. Do you know something? And I think this man knows it very well.
Dr. Wenner was just saying that we're in a position to actually make beings, so we can't be that backward, can we?
You have now on this planet more scientists than in all the story of mankind. So science is just beginning. It's a baby science. We just start to discover universe.
And many scientists actually believe in the Bible story, not yours. In fact, far more scientists do. So how can you explain that? Greater the brain, greater the faith in Jesus Christ.
My mission is to stop people to believe.
Oh, so you're here to destroy faith then? That's very good. That's interesting.
Let's get a political view over here. Joe Ashton.
These aliens were poisoning our eggs.
I knew you would bring that into it here tonight. I just knew it.
It's very important to know they love us. They love us because we are their children. So they love us and they want to come to meet us if we want to welcome them. And it's only our choice. If we don't want, they will not come. But we will build this embassy.
Oh, crazy. Illusions of grandeur.
No, we'll stay with the MPs. Can I just say, Claude Cash, you have actually raised questions in the House before about UFOs or sightings, because in the area where you're an MP, there have been more sightings than probably anywhere else in the country, has there not?
Well, I mean, just to start off, I mean, I think what I've just heard is the biggest load of rubbish that I've heard for a very long time. But leaving that aside, there have been a number of people in my constituency who've raised questions with me, and I have raised them with the Minister, and we've had replies. But that is as far removed from what we've just heard over the last 15 minutes as I think we could possibly get. So I've really got no comment to make on what I've just heard, other than I think it's complete rubbish.
Well, just as a matter of interest, I mean, if you accept that some of the sightings from UFOs are real, I mean, who do you think is on board?
No, I didn't say that I did. What I said was that I've had a lot of people in my constituency who have raised questions relating to them, and there may be all sorts of reasons why those sightings have been reported, and there may have been all sorts of reasons why those phenomena...
You personally don't believe in them?
I personally have great scepticism about the whole issue, but as to the matters which we've just heard, I regard the whole thing as a load of junk.
Well, the gentleman there.
The thing that concerns me about this gentleman is he comes on dressed in white and tries to obviously enhance his appearance by doing so. He falls into the trap of most occults, and that is that they profess love, but unfortunately what they fail to do is what they do in fact is they discredit Jesus Christ every time. They always question the deity of Jesus Christ, and it is a failure every time. And there's one thing as well. I want to make one more point.
Please do, very quickly, because there's a gentleman down here who wants to come in.
He's wearing a symbol around his neck, which Jews and Christians will find it deeply offensive.
Right. Okay,
let's come in on that.
The gentleman from the Aetherius Society.
Right, I want to say, of course, we're nothing at all to do with the Raelian movement at all.
Do you believe it?
Can I also say we've got nothing to do with the Aetherius Society?
Well, obviously, that's quite obvious.
Do you believe?
I believe it's valuable to put out the fact that flying saucers exist and that contact is possible. Now, I'm not going to comment. We don't follow the same views as the Raelians, as it happens. But I think people watching this could be very well put off. And I want to say to people watching this, thousands of people throughout the world have seen flying saucers. The Ministry of Defence in this country has thousands of sightings on file, which I'm sure Mr. Cash will know, and don't be put off investigating genuine
aliens that
contactees.
you believe exist, the same aliens?
No, totally different. There is nothing.
So wait a minute. So you don't believe?
There are many organisations in the world, not just us, that claim.
Yes, Harry,
contact.
I do know. Carry on.
May I please say this very, very briefly? I, as a
You'll have to be briefly as well.
A very chance encounter in London earlier this year. I ran into a professor of engineering from the States, a man named Milton Torres, on the 20th of May, 1957.
Hang on, this is getting very complicated.
Yes, he was a fighter pilot. He was ordered to fire on a UFO which appeared on his radar scope over East Anglia, of the size of an aircraft carrier, flying at twice the speed of Concorde. Within 10 seconds of him carrying out the order, or going to carry out the order to fire, it accelerated away. It's accelerated off his radar screen at twice the speed of Concorde.
It disappeared, definitely.
No, the MOD say they have no record of this.
Harry, thank you.
Can I just ask him to tell him to hurry up and get the messages across while the Russians and the Americans are getting on well? It seems like a good time to come and visit.
Yeah, that's not a bad point, really, is it? It seems like a good time for them to come now because we're sort of getting on a bit better than we were before. You know, the East and the West.
Yes.
Do you think it's a good time for them to come now?
In the embassy. We need an embassy first.
They could come to the House of Commons, which is full of very strange people.
Would you make a...
They don't want to come in. They don't want to come in one country.
Well, there's a spare office in the Health Ministry at the moment.
They don't want to come in one country. They don't want to give an advantage to a country or to a political system. I'm sorry, I must answer when somebody asks a question. They don't want to come in one country. They don't want to come in one country. They want an extraterritoriality. It's the reason why they need an embassy. And we will build this embassy, and they will come. And one day, all the people who laugh today will say, we didn't believe, and they are here.
Well, the gentleman, I think you're going to have the last word on this.
If at the dawn of prehistory of mankind they were so clever that they could do all this, why are they so afraid now?
What have they been doing for the last 2,000 years?
Watching us, always.
Yes.
Always.
So clever,
and waiting, we will stop to believe and start to understand the universe. And we just now start to understand the universe. And they say, please stop to believe, start to understand.
Start to believe.
Okay, you get
I'm going to end it there, but if they're going to come before 2025, then it means a lot of us here will actually be witnessing it. And maybe we'll be doing a programme live on Central Weekend with aliens.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Andy. I tell you, if they come, we want them on Central Weekend first. We're dying to meet them. But